Hello guys, my name is Jakob, and I want to introduce today the topic of how to find a publisher and why you don't need one. I made a survey and asked several people, several authors, what is their main challenge, and what is the biggest problem when it comes to publishing or writing. And again, there were three topics which are very important to authors. The first one is publishing, a publisher, how to find a publisher. The second one was marketing, and the third one was selling. And this first presentation is about how to find a publisher. And I will introduce some concepts, what I think about this topic, and why it is relevant in our day. Just a few sentences to me. My name is Yakup-ceyhun-zkardes, and I'm a political scientist. Um, and I already published some publications. You can find some publications from me, and it's more on the political science. And I was also in China, and I published my stories uh, in China. About the stories I lived through, and I also had some several courses. I participated at the Working Moms Only writing course or the online course Inbox Magazine, and there was also a section about book publishing. I also had something from Brian Tracy, a writing kit, and also the online course uh, Write, Publish, and Repeat, which is from authors from Great Britain. I also participated, and also I have several um, um, toolkits from Brendan Burchard and also Jack Canfield. So I'm always interested in this topic of publishing, and I'm glad when I can share my knowledge with other people, because I had also this problem with okay, how to publish, how to get published, because it's always overwhelming, and oftentimes as author it's already a big challenge to write the the text, and oftentimes you don't think about how to find a publisher or how to get published, how to organize the ebook cover or the cover, how to find lectures, and so on and so on. There are many topics, and so I know these problems, and that's the reason why I make these videos, just to help other people to reduce the confusion and to find their path, their own author path. And so I want to share my story also. Yeah, these are my results. I had several publications, like I said, and now I want to introduce the old new world concept. What I think is very valuable when you're new as author. I think that you can divide the publishing world into the traditional publishing and the self-publishing, and that's this concept of old and new. The traditional publishing takes much more time. If you published 10 or 15 or 20 years ago, it took you as author 1.5 year, 2 years sometimes. It depends on your topic, depends on the length of your book, it depends on the publishing house, how many people are there working. And nowadays you can self-publish very fast. If you have already your text, if it's finished and lectured or read by better readers, you can publish tomorrow. There's no limitation. Self-publishing, it depends on your um, speed. Yeah, how far you already. That's one of the main differences, I think. The other thing is, or are the high costs that are produced by traditional publishing. When you look at the revenue side, that's also the third point already. You don't have as author so many revenues when you publish traditionally. Um, so they are oftentimes 8%, 9%. When you're already established, maybe a little bit higher, and in the self-publishing world, okay, you have the full revenue. Yeah, it depends where you self-publish, but oftentimes it's 80% or 70%. It's much higher than in a traditional publishing world. So this speaks, in my opinion, for the self-publishing. And there were these troubles, I think. In the survey, always the people mentioned publishing or finding a publisher. And I don't think that's a really big problem in our now times, because we have so many publishers, and you really it's good when you have a publisher, when you find a publisher, but it's not a must. You don't have to have a publisher in order to get started. I think it's oftentimes many people say that's the biggest problem, the publisher. But I think it's just an excuse. And that's maybe hard to say, but I think it's an excuse not to start. You don't really have to have a publisher in order to get started. That's my opinion. Just write. Just start today. Write your first page. If you already wrote something, wrote one more page. Yeah, that's one page per day activity. So don't think that you have to have a publisher in order to get started. No, no. Start today and you will get a publisher. That's what I think, and that's what I mean with the concept of publisher. Yeah, it's good to have one, but there's no must. Remember this. Okay, now let's directly jump into a case study. And you are. Maybe you don't know the name, but I'm sure you know the movie, The Martian. By the way, a great movie. I saw it with my fiancée, and it was. I I think it's a great movie. It's really nice to see. Okay, Andy Weir. He started 2009 to write this book, and he finished his book. I think it was 2011, and he couldn't find a publisher. Okay, he couldn't find a publisher, but he was done with the project, and he gave it for free on his website. On his personal website, you could download his book for free. And then after a while, friends said to him, "Hey, why don't you take your book, The Martian, and took it or publish it on Amazon KDP? You can self-publish on Amazon." And that's what he did. He sold his book for 99 cents on Amazon. And after 3 months, he already sold 35,000 copies of The Martian. And then a publisher recognized this. By the way, another question many people say is, when I self-publish, can I also publish traditionally? Yes, definitely. Why? Because publishing houses want to earn money. And when they see, okay, this guy, for example, Andy Weir, self-published and already sold 35,000 copies of his book without a publishing house, uh, when when we take this book and publish it traditionally, it will skyrocket the sales. So that's what a publisher would think when he sees, okay, he self-published it and 35,000 sold copies. Okay, we have to publish this thing with our publishing house. And that's what happened actually recently. And the Podium Publishing House, it's a publishing house who's focused on audiobooks, took um, this book and published it as audiobook. 2 years later, or 1.5 years later, the publishing house Crown also bought the rights for this book, and then finally his book, Anywhere's book, get published on a traditional way. So you don't need a publisher on the first place. You can self-publish, and it's not a bad thing to self-publish your your story, your writing. It's not a bad thing. Yeah, it's a good starting point in my opinion, because these kind of stories, this will happen more and more, because publishing houses, they have much pressure, and as a high degree of competition, and they don't have the time to look in detail to book proposals. So when you can show a publisher, hey, I made already sales without a publishing house. Here are the numbers. When you can say this, that's very that will have a very positive effect for your publishing contract. Yeah, just have this as a reminder. But still, many people want to find a publisher or a publishing house, and here are some action steps which are helpful, I think. First of all, you have to define your field. Yeah, in which field are you? Are you in non-fiction? Are you in fiction? If you are in fiction, what is it about? If you are in non-fiction, what is exactly your field? Is it about business? Is it about time management? Is it about building online courses or how to market on social media? So be very precise and exact about your field you're going to write or you're writing already about. And then after you identified your field, go to the bookstore, or you can also use, of course, Amazon, and type in your field, and there will come many books, and just choose 10 experts. Okay, 10 names which are very important, and which have good recommendation, which have good reviews, 5-star reviews. Make a research on these persons, and then take these books, or maybe you can also find it in the internet for free, and go to publishersmarketplace.com. I will show you the site. Oh, yes. Here's the site, sorry. And here's Publishers Marketplace. And here you can find all the important authors and publishers and people that are um, recommendable for publishing field. So you can type in here um, the name of the publishing house, and you will find also agents and other publishers who can be valuable for you. And the important thing is when you read the foreword of a book, you will find information about the publishing house and also literary agents or lecturers, and write these names down. Okay, these are important signs for you, just to find also people who are in your field. Yeah, maybe you can't hire these people, but there will always be people in the publishing house who are who are free, and they can support you with your book project. Yes. Okay, these were some conceptual things about my thinking when it comes to publishing. And just remember, you don't need a publisher in the first place. Um, Remember the story of Andy Weir? Yeah, he didn't have a publisher, and he get published and do it very well. At the end of the story, he sold the copyrights of his book to a film industry and made 6 figures. That doesn't mean that you will have the same story like Andy Weir, but I just want to illustrate that it's happening, and I think that's my opinion, my personal opinion. It will happen more and more in the coming future. So if you have more questions, you can write me. I'm at LinkedIn. That's my name again, and I also can help you if you have further questions. And thanks for your attention, and hope to see you soon. Bye.